Buttons. Hi, welcome to Tea Time with Amy and Bev.
Good day.
Good day, sister.
How are things?
Oh, good. So good. I have to say, my pants that you know how you wear clothes on a regular basis and you think they fit, quote unquote fit, but they're actually a little snug. Well, most of my pants are not snug anymore, so I'm not sure, are they actually fitting properly or are they too loose?
It just depends on preference, really, I feel like.
So anyway, that's just a fun thing in my life right now. I'm like, oh,
And
are
that's awesome.
these actually supposed to fit like this? Because this feels really good.
Well, and so to me, that's I talk to people about you don't have to go out and lose weight, but when you find yourself in your and you're happy, when you're not losing weight, you're holding on to stuff and you're not happy. That's just really what it boils down to. It boils down to not being happy, not being in harmony, not being in balance. That's what it boils down to. It's simple. It's that simple. We get so caught up in the 3D and think we got to go out on this, try this diet, and we got to start doing this exercise, and we got to start doing all these things. And those are all things outside of us because that's just us avoiding dealing with the emotional feelings that we have with inside of ourselves.
And I want to just say I am so excited that you just said that because of what I wanted to talk about, which I hadn't discussed with you.
Yeah.
Is being happy with yourself, feeling that love for yourself. But I'm going to go in a little different direction with it in the sense of the topic. Last week I did a class and there was a lady there, never met her before. She was a guest to somebody who had been around for a little bit, and she came. She's visiting from out of town, and she came. And the topic of past lives came up and reincarnation. And so we're having this conversation. And I said, this to me has a lot to do with people who are wanting to change their gender to be something else, that it resonates with them in the sense of the gender, but their physical body isn't a representation of that. Meaning if I'm female, but I am attracted to women, then I feel like maybe I need to change my gender to male. If that makes sense. Because a lot of that's happening, right? And vice versa. So what I explained to them, because we were talking about reincarnation, was, listen, if you had a few lifetimes, or maybe just the previous life where you were in that male energy and you were in a male body, and now maybe you had a very strong presence in that male body in the past life, or maybe you had several past lives in a row where you were in a male body, and now you come into this life in a female body, and there's that confusion about, so to speak, that you're attracted to women instead of men. And so now it brings up confusion within yourself because of what society teaches us, that if you're female, you should be attracted to male, vice versa. And I said, if you had that strong presence, and really some people that I've heard talk about reincarnation, they're like, I loved my life as a man and now I'm in a female body and I don't like it, right? It's that adjustment, that adjustment from a male body to a female body, and learning to live in that space. But because of society programming, or wanting to fit in or be accepted and loved, it's not okay to like women. Now, I know it's more acceptable now, but when we were growing up, it was not. So it's just thinking about, or bringing that piece in, and learning about yourself, and learning about past lives and reincarnation and all that stuff, and go, oh, okay, now I understand why I'm feeling this way. But that's not a conversation yet. That's not, like, we don't have these conversations in the grocery store, right? And so I feel like there's the piece of loving yourself enough to be curious about yourself and to have some sort of understanding before it's a decision that I need to go change my gender. Does that make sense, what I just said? I hope I was clear in that.
Yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from with all that. Yeah. And it's also when you're saying that stuff, it's also where you identify so much with the body, and it's not about the body. I even having a realization last night, which is interesting, of course, it just kind of is part of the topic, right? It's all timing, it's divine timing. But having the process of recognizing I'm not feminine or masculine, I just am. And we get to the point where we identify so much, like even with the labels, identifying with my name and my story, and there's so much more to us than that, because that's very restrictive when we look at it that way. And it's recognizing that we're all, right. It's back to that whole thing, we're all but we're nothing. So it's not being identifying, it's not self-identifying with what your being is. It's finding that happiness, because now you're closer, like you're like I can hear red light, green light, you're getting closer, right? It's getting greener, it's getting hotter when you're identifying with your body, but a little step further, you're going within yourself, and now you're getting hot. Now you're recognizing, why do I feel these emotions? Why do I feel this lack? Why do I feel the need to change my gender? And it's to each his own. And there's such a big lesson to be heard on the other side of that. It's not our business, right? If that's what they want to do, it's not our business. And if it's someone's trying to force it down your throat, then recognize, what am I forcing down someone else's throat? What am I trying to push onto someone else? So it's so much bigger than we give credit to. So I find it interesting that you had brought that up. It's when you started off conversation, it's us letting go of like this identity of ourselves, and clearing out the cobwebs, clearing out the stuff. Last week, it was like a string of events, right? It's always divine. Thursday night, or Friday night, I watched a cartoon with Freeman out. Gosh, Wonderland is what it was called, and it was about there was a message in there, and it's a good it's a good show to watch. So we watched that, and afterwards I'm like, I want to focus on my inner child, because my focus is being happy. I want to be happy, and I know that my inner child can be happy without judging, because children don't judge, they just are. They're happy, or if you irritate them, they might be pissed off for 5 seconds and throw a temper tantrum. I'm good with that. I can throw my temper tantrum. But it's recognizing that. So I was like wanting to go find this particular picture that reminds me of my inner child. This picture reminds me of a child that's very illuminated, and everything's possible, and they're happy and jovial. And it's like, that was like the perfect picture. So I go looking for these pictures, and then I find pictures of my mom when she was like 7 years old and 12 years old. And I'm seeing pictures of my biological father with my mom, and the time frames. And it's like having curiosity. And the next morning I'm listening to the seatbelt psychic, and these are all the thoughts that I've seen, all these emotions I've had the night before. And then I'm listening to the psychic or seatbelt psychic. I'm getting all my words all crumbled up here. And he said, he's giving a message to someone. He says, your mom says from the other side that you need to get a hold of your dad. And I thought, how freaking amazing is this, that the night before I'm having these thoughts. And then I'm like, holy shit, Freeman, like, listen, spirit's talking to me, and this is what they're telling me. I know this is for me, because it's a knowing within inside. And how do I know? It's because I've taken the time to get to know that. I've taken the time to have an understanding. I'm not perfect at it by any stretch of the means, but I do have more of a connection with myself, because I'm not identifying just with the body, right? We're going to identify with the body in a lot of ways, because we're in a human experience, but I'm going deeper than that. So I'm recognizing these things. So the next morning, I'm going to go to work, because I had a few massages that day. And Freeman's like, well, are you going to go by that address that you have? Because he had tried to get a hold of me like a couple years ago from this address, and it had been transferred to me. And I never sent a letter, never did anything, because I felt like I wanted to, but it wasn't time. And that's where we have to not beat ourselves up so much for. We think that we've got to do things right now, and sometimes it's just not time. So it was like a seed being planted, like, oh, I need to do this, right? It's not that I needed to do it, but it was something that was coming to me to let me know, planting a seed, at some point, this will happen, because it's a benefit. It's not just a benefit to myself, it's a benefit to all, right? Because I'm not going to carry these cobwebs with inside of me anymore. So, throw in these old boxes that are stuffed away, and I've buried them and stuff, because I haven't talked to my biological father for 32 years. It's a long freaking time. I hadn't seen him. So anyways, that morning, I'm like, I am not going to drive by someone's house out in this area and get shot. So that's like, if I drive by it, I'll stop, right? Well, then I get off work and he's like, well, are you gonna go by it? And I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't know. I don't know, because I don't even know. I said, I'll just drive by. And if there's someone standing outside, right? This is the first address I had. And he starts looking online and he finds him by his first name, which he always has gone by his middle name and last name. So he looks him up and finds him on Facebook. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. I have been looking for him, right? Again, I remind myself it wasn't time, but the seeds planted, the urge, the need, the desire has been planted within me. And it might not just be my desire. It might be spirit. It might be their desires, my biological father and the family and stuff. So going through this process, and now that I'm through all of it, so I'm like, talking to him afterwards, I'm like, well, I'm going to go by. And he's like, well, I just found him on Facebook. So I sent him a message. And then I'm like, immediately I get like a message. How long has he had that? When's the last time he posted anything? 2015, right? So I'm like, okay, so that's not going to work. But my desire is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I was like, I was really hoping I was going to reach out to him at that time. And so Freeman goes onto a page and he looks up and he says, oh, it shows him up on this street. And I'm like, but there's lots of addresses on that street. I'm not going to drive up and down the street. And what is that going to do for me? And then he goes out of it and goes back into the screen. And now it shows the full address. Oddly enough, he didn't pay for anything, but spirit, again, letting him know. I'm like, okay, I'll go check it out. So I drive by this address and they just happen to be having a freaking yard sale outside. And there's a lady sitting in the front yard. So what did I say earlier? If someone's sitting outside, I'll stop. And I drive to the end of the street and he's like, well, are you going to stop? I'm like, well, God damn it. I'll go ahead and turn around and go back then. So I got to turn around. So I turn around because I know, yes, is that the right thing to do? Yes, I've already set myself up. Spirit already let me know like what was going to be my incentive. Really, it's this person standing outside. So I'm like, walk up and I say his full name and I ask if he's here. And she's like, well, no, but he's my brother. And I said, well, I'm his oldest daughter. So from there is like she contacts him and he's there within a matter of minutes. And we've been getting to know each other because I don't know him. You think you know your parents and stuff like that. Even my mom before she transitioned, I knew a lot about her, but I didn't know her. So now I'm getting to know my biological father, but from a standpoint, not from a victim. And it's like I told him, he apologized to me yesterday for being the father that he was. And I said, sometimes our our parents aren't supposed to be there in our experience for whatever reason until now. And I said, I was in no space to accept you at any given moment, even if you would have apologized. I said, because I was being an asshole. And I said, I apologized to him for the way I had shown up a couple times that he had shown up in my experience. So it's like I say, getting back to clearing out the cobwebs. It's not holding on to his stuff anymore, but I was ready to do that. I was ready for it. And now I know Spirit's been leading me up to even writing letters to my stepdad or whatever, because me trying to control it, because not wanting to have open communication on the phone, but being okay with sending a letter. And, that's it. But then I also would know my mind would start getting into the process of writing that letter and old hurts would come back up again. And recognizing it's not a bad thing. I don't have to beat my ass for this. I don't have to be upset because it's showing up, but acknowledging that it is showing up within me, and that's okay. And it's okay. It's okay because it lets me know where I'm at right now. So like all the spirit is amazing, and all these things, how they happen are amazing. And I'm learning a lot, but I'm learning a lot about myself, and I felt neutral during this whole process. I still feel neutral. We're still communicating. He brings me pictures and we're talking about stuff all the way back to, stuff I didn't remember. Because I don't have that memory, but he's got the memory of it. So, and also realizing that he was in the army. He got out of the army. He was over in Nam, but he got out in 1972 when I was 2 years old. So it's like not knowing what was his experiences, not let alone, because this is also on this side of the family is where I received the sexual abuse was from his family or from his father. But it's like also recognizing not only did he have those experiences for whatever he had seen, right? To see this person as a much bigger person or give them credit for how they were even capable of showing up. They're doing the best they can, right? The best is so to rate it is so that's so personal. You can't because it's on a personal level. So and then for him to have been over fighting and doing other stuff and being in the military, it's like that's a lot. I had no clue that he'd even been married to my mom for 8 years. No clue. None. I thought it was like a blip, because I don't remember. I don't have a recollection of any of this stuff. So all this stuff kind of ties together. It's like all this growth part, and it's it's looking at the stuff within inside, and then recognizing this wasn't just for my healing. This was for his healing. This was for his healing because he didn't feel like he had shown up the way that he probably would like to now, being around grandchildren. And I asked if he had any other children besides my sister and I, and he said no, that was it. He never had any other children. So that was a long time ago. So
Yeah.
that's crazy and have other relationships, but it's like, it's just learning because as I'm getting to know him, I'm getting to know me. So there's such a big picture with everything that we're talking about today.
Yeah. That's awesome. And to be healing, because, just like you said, you not only are you healing for yourself, you're healing for him. And had that
Yeah.
not happened, what kind of energy would have been taken forward and even into the next incarnation of the experience?
Yeah. And our punishing, like we want to punish them, right? I mean, not always, but I would say a lot of times when we receive trauma from whatever individual, we feel like we want to punish them. Why? Because we learned punishing. We learned to be punished when we were children. So we've learned that. And it's to be
Right.
beyond all that stuff. Because when we're punishing, like you said, we're creating karma, and we're bringing forward stuff that's maybe into our next lifetime, because we're creating our next lifetime right now. And I'd rather create a lifetime where it looks completely different than how it has been in this lifetime.
Yeah. And that's what I just keep thinking over and over is like, the better I am this time, the better, the better it's going to be next time, and I don't know that for sure. I don't know what I'm going to choose to do next time, or what my spirit's going to choose to want to experience and learn and grow from. But if karma is a piece of that, and I'm saying if karma is a piece of that, and I'm clearing up a bunch of that energy now from past to now, like, how amazing could the next one? And even by me just thinking that the next life's going to be even more amazing, I'm already projecting that out there. So I know my spirit's hearing that and taking note. But I love that you shared that, and so many people are going to hear that and hopefully take some steps in their own lives of maybe clearing up some energy around relationships. And it doesn't always mean you need to go contact the person and take the steps that Bev took. It could be just writing a letter and burning it just to move the energy out of the body. And I was going to say that to you too, is like, maybe you're not ready to send the letter to your stepdad, but maybe you're ready to write the letter just to move the energy and get rid of that until you can clear some of that up to be able to send him a message. So hopefully that will help other people as well.
Yeah, because that's a confirmation for me when you said that, because I was just discussing this with one of my other friends and she said the same thing. And I said, yeah, I was already thinking, this is what I advise people, and I was already thinking about that. But to get rid of the stuff that I am holding on to, right? The victim mentality, like you did this to me,
Pain.
that defensiveness. Yeah, the pain. That's right.
Because
So
that
it's 100%. So
it's the pain of the little girl that's still there, that's wanting to be heard, but it's through the adult version, it's not coming out that way. It's still coming from the painful little girl. And so yeah, just
and wanting to punish,
yeah,
back, right?
right, point
That's,
the
I mean,
finger
that's,
and blame and all the stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
So
that's the ideal time, like you're saying, to interrupt you. I mean, when we were talking about that, but that is the ideal time to write the letters. That means that there's stuff inside of me that would be well heard on a piece of paper and destroyed and let go of from the body instead of holding on to it.
yeah,
100%. So then if I do feel the need still to write that letter, so the letter right now at this point is just to write the letter I'm never going to send.
yeah.
Yes.
But it's still clearing
Thank
up
you.
some energy, because it's clearing up the
Yes.
energy within yourself, and whatever we
Yes.
do within our body is projecting outward anyway. So
Yes.
it's still beneficial, even though it's not being sent through the mail to the person to read it, because even when that person receives it, it's going to be how they perceive the words or how
Yeah.
they interpret what you're trying to convey, right? So
Yeah.
so and we don't have any control over that. And I'm going over this. I know you know this information. I'm just going over it for the listeners to understand that we don't have any control on how people receive the way we're feeling or the words that we're expressing, and how they react to them. We just don't. And so if it feels more comfortable to you to write out like you're writing a letter to somebody, so dear Bev, this is what you did to me, this is how it made me feel, this is how it's made me show up in life, and my life has sucked because of it, and all the stuff, right? All that blaming stuff. Just do that and get it out of your body and move that energy, and then burn it, shred it, throw it away, get rid of it. Don't hang on to it. Don't reread it 100 times. Just get rid of it. That's one of the things I do when I write something like that. And I just write until I feel like I'm done. I don't go back and read them. I don't. I write, and then at the end, I express some appreciation or gratitude for the experience in a way that I can perceive it, because I know it was for my own growth and learning and healing and all that. And I'll thank the universe, God, angels, whoever, and I sign it just like I was going to send the letter. I sign it, and then I'll go take it outside and burn it as fast as I can. So
Now, I've never signed it. I've never done that before, but I have done the rest of it, and I'm glad that we're having this conversation again, because it just reiterates what we've been talking about. But it also lets people know that we can go through these things too, and it's sometimes you can get lost in it, but we find ourselves out of it so quick. We don't stay in that space as long. It's like so fast, and we recognize all the signs, right? And that's where the practice of looking at the angel numbers and paying attention to the license plates and this building, the signs, what someone says, is paying attention to all that, because it really does align us within ourselves to be able to receive all this information, and we receive it so much quickly because we're paying attention to how we feel.
yeah. And it goes back to, I want to come back to what I was bringing up earlier is, going and changing your body, medically changing your body to be something else. And it's similar to addiction. It's like you have this inner conflict or chaos going on emotionally, mentally, and you haven't been given the tools to deal with it in a healthy manner. So you haven't been given the tools to accept yourself, that you're a female, but you're attracted to other females, or you're male and you're attracted to males. And there's this inner conflict. And so if we change the external, then that's going to be a resolve. And it's just going and picking up a bottle of liquor and thinking that's going to solve my problems. But yet when I wake up tomorrow, I'm still looking at me. I still have this container of all the stuff that I don't understand, because I'm not taking the time to understand it. I'm still just as confused, and the liquor didn't help, and neither is the sex change. To me, that's my perception. And if that's harsh, I apologize that you're receiving it in a way of harshness. But the idea is investigate, be curious about, ask questions to yourself about yourself. I mean, the more you give your time, energy, and attention to yourself and learning about yourself, the more fascinating you'll find that you and life is, because energy can't be created or destroyed, and our spirit's energy, and our spirit takes a body to have a physical experience over many lifetimes. And when we understand that, there have been people that have had past life regressions who have recognized, oh, my past, that's why I'm, say past lives, is that they've had either several past lives or the immediate past life where they were male. Now they're in a female body. They had a regression to go back and see, oh man, I really liked being a male. I really liked women. And now I'm in a woman's body. And because they had that understanding or got to have that experience of a regression, it's like their whole world changes. And now they're embracing the female body and then they have heterosexual relationships. And it doesn't mean that that's going to happen to you. I mean, if you're female and you're still attracted to females, then run with it. That doesn't matter to me. What you do is, as long as you're being a good person. So be curious of an understanding of yourself. I just, that's all I ask of people, you know, is learn about yourself. I've been in that masculine energy for a very long time. And this is why it resonates with me so much. I have, for survival reasons, in the sense of, you know, growing up in an abusive household and molestation and all the stuff, just for survival reasons, I've been in the masculine energy for most of my life. But I also went through a period of time where I was attracted to women. I just was. And I'm like, why is that? Well, part of it I knew was because the female is nurturing. The feminine energy is nurturing. And I wanted some nurturing because I wasn't getting it from the masculine ever. And then I was like, oh, there's got to be more to that. And then when I started learning about having male past lives, or past lives in a male body, then that even made more sense to me. I'm like, wow. And the more I learned about that, the less the desire of a female relationship came up. It just disintegrated. Actually, I'm just like, oh, okay, now I understand. Now I get it. That's interesting. You know, it was really interesting and fascinating to me. And I'm just like, okay, now I understand.
So it wasn't something outside of you, it was something mirroring you to embrace your feminine
Yeah.
side, right? It was just to draw you into that space. And that makes a lot of sense to me.
Well,
And
the more too that I lean, because of being in the masculine energy for so long, the more I embraced my feminine energy,
yes,
nurturing myself and loving myself, then I was receiving what I was desiring, which was I was desiring from another female in
yeah,
a intimate relationship type of thing. And
yeah,
I was like, I have that for me now. So
yeah. I hear what you're saying, but to me, it's having that intimate relationship with your feminine, with inside of yourself. It was all mirroring to you exactly what you already had with inside of yourself. And that was one thing I learned from you a long time ago. Everybody's a mirror outside of you. If you're looking at somebody and you're admiring them versus whether you're looking at them and finding fault in them, they're a mirror. They're a mirror image of you. It might be exaggerated. We've talked about that before. How it can feel so exaggerated because it's like, I'm not that bad, but who gets to grade you? I mean, who gets to grade that
right,
scale? That's all perspective. That's someone else's perspective
right.
and your own perspective. So
It's
it's
your
like,
own
it's an awesome
judgment.
thing. And it's
That's
even for me. So even feeling the lacking, I went in and got breast implants. I felt that lacking that
yeah.
and it, what, no matter it, nobody could have told me otherwise. Honestly, at the stage of life where I was at then, no one could have told me otherwise. And what was I looking for? More feminine. It had nothing to do with the physical body. It had everything to do that mirroring for inside of me, because I was always the tomboy. I was always the masculine. Anything he can do, I can do better. Like it was always that way. I was competitive. I was in my ego a lot. There, all that stuff. And it doesn't have to be that way. Now it's like I just take my ego along. We just go hang out together and
We're like, oh,
enjoy life. I'm like, look, isn't this so much more fun than that? Like what
yeah,
you were thinking a second ago? This is more fun, right? Let's have a blast.
a lot
So
better.
yeah, it is. But also at the same point, I understand where you're coming from, because I was doing the same thing, needing that nurturing or all this other things and looking outside of self, but it was never to be looked outside of self. It was never for me to change my body. And for me at this point in my life, I don't need them. Like, right. I'm out with the currency that I want to have coming in for me to go do something like that to remove them. I'm good with that, to go through that process, but to be in that process, I'm good, because it was from a different part of my life. It was from a part of my life that I needed something that was outside of me to make me whole. And it was nothing outside of me that was going to make me whole. It was me going within myself to find that wholeness. That's where
Well,
I'm at now. That's where the wholeness is at.
if you're not accepting of yourself and you're really beating yourself up and judging yourself for all the things you've done in your life, it doesn't matter how much cosmetic surgery you have done, you
100%.
still have your inner self, to your mental and emotional stuff to look at. And
it's no different than well, I'm leaving, then I'm leaving Arizona. I'm gonna go somewhere else.
Right.
Things are gonna be better. And it's like, oh wait, shit, there I am in the mirror again.
And
Wait,
you're
I
the
still have
same
my baggage.
people.
Exactly. So it's the same. It's all the same. And it's just a different perspective for everybody to kind of take a look at it and see how we can change things. Because it's never running away from a situation. It's why is this showing up for me, or how is this showing up for me, or what can I learn from this? And isn't that interesting? I'm having these emotions inside. What do I do with these emotions? Like it's just asking those questions from within yourself, because within yourself you have all the answers that you need. It will guide you on the right path. It's not going to lead you astray, but you got to listen.
Yeah. Yeah. Just, yes. So, I just say, it doesn't matter where you go, there you are. And you attract the same people because you're still in the same energetic space with yourself. And it's so, how many times has a person who has a drug addiction and they go to rehab and they're like, okay, well, maybe let's just say their parents are involved and parents like, okay, well, we got to get you out of the environment that you were in that created this problem. So now you're going to go live with Aunt Mary in another state. And what happens? Out of rehab, they go to another state, they still attract, they still find a group of people who are doing drugs and get right back into it.
Because we're creators, we're master creators.
So good. This stuff is so good.
It is. But it's like, what are you creating? What are you really wanting to create? And then having the experience of things that you really don't want in your experience, and then looking at it and immediately knowing it's a gauge to let you know, what do I want out of this experience? What would I like to see? And it's like immediately you're creating something else if you can get into that pattern. And that's my process. This is like, it's not just one thing, it's many things for myself. Like when someone comes into me for massage and they're complaining about their shoulder, well, it's never just one thing. There's several things because we've created it. We've created the problem, or we've ignored the problem so much that it has to show up in our body to let us know there's a problem. Hello, there's a problem. Something's not right here. And it's not a bad thing. It's not like you're being punished, because you're not being punished. It's something, the louder it gets, the easier it is to see. The easier it is to hear.
I get to hear from people who are involved in it's called a reentry program, which I think personally they need to change the name of that, but it's reentry back into life after being in prison or jail, in prison. And so trying to help people to, I'm going to use the terms, better themselves so they can come back into society and live a good life, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the crimes that have been committed are the crimes that were committed because of where they were with themselves, with the information and knowledge and wisdom they have at that time. And to me, just like with all of us, I don't care what level you're on, in order for anything to change in your life, there are things within yourself that has to change. So beliefs, habits, patterns, programming, all the stuff that you got from your significant adults in your life from 0 to 7 years old, that you downloaded all their stuff that you're operating from as an adult, all that's a package. And it's not to say that to overwhelm people, to say, okay, until your life can't change until all of this stuff is cleared up. That's not the point. The point is, pick one thing. Pick one thing to implement and start working on it, because the universe, like Bev talked about earlier, the universe is going to guide us. So my guidance was, somebody gave me a book. I read the book. It fascinated with me. It resonated with me. I was like, there was so much information in it that I just like, I need to know more about this. Then it was a psychic medium telling me everything that happened to me in my life from conception until that point I was sitting in front of her, which was in my early 30s, even things I had never told anybody about. And from there, she's telling me I'm a healer. I need to do energy work. So I started doing that after 3 years of her pushing me about it. and me denying it. And from there, it started into coaching and classes, and then just it's blossomed. And so universe is going to guide us, but you got to start. You just got to start doing your process of your healing or your desire to make changes in within yourself, or your desire to have a more joyful life, just even a glimpse of joy. Some people don't even have joy, and you just get that glimpse of joy, but you have to do something different. And once you take that step, then you will be guided along the way if you are open to receiving those signs. Like Bev, well, shoot, somebody's sitting outside, and I said, if they're sitting outside, I gotta stop. So the universe is going to guide you. We just got to listen and follow, and take the steps, take the action steps on our part before what we were asking for.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome. It is divine.
Yeah. So good.
It is. And that makes it fun. That makes this journey fun. And then to recognize where I'm at. And then I went to a sweat lodge on Sunday. So that was on Saturday. And of course we were around the full moon and all the stuff was happening, but it was just like divine. And even driving along, I'm not driving and my friend's driving. And it's like, in the past, I would have been like freaked out about someone else driving and then some of the things that was going on, but I just pulled myself back in. I knew that I was protected. It didn't matter. And it's like, I'm going to live the experience and have the experience. We don't live when we're in fear. And I have not lived most of my life because I was in fear, because I had children. I had something that could be taken away from me, and like all that stuff that I recognize now that nothing can really be taken away from you. And it's like, they were not mine. We're all connected. It's my perspective on things is so different, but feeling the neutrality that I have in myself, even feeling neutral when I'm even approaching certain, the whole experience with my biological dad, father, it's like even having that full experience, having the conversation and stuff. And now I have conversations. I just ask them straight up questions, like, because I'm curious, and which also leads them to know that I'm open too. I'm open to hear what you've got to say. I'm open to hear what your information is. I'm open for your questions, whatever questions you have for me. So it's just all divine. And like I said, to me, it makes the journey, it makes the journey worth living. It makes the experience here, gosh, it feels so much better to resolve a lot of these things instead of holding someone in darkness, like condemning them. It's instead of being in that space where you're doing that stuff, because when the only person you're holding in darkness and condemning is yourself. And I can give you examples on so many different levels for that, but it doesn't need to be done. It's just we all have our own ways that we're doing stuff. And when we're doing that to someone else to punish somebody else, gosh, for the longest time, even for like Jim, I was trying to punish him. I was trying to punish him for his drinking because he wasn't listening to me. He wasn't obeying me and stopping doing what I perceived as a bad thing to be doing. And it wasn't my thing to perceive that was wrong. That was his experience. It's for us to embrace them and love them anyways. It doesn't mean you have to, we've talked about this a million times, they don't have to be around you all the time. But at that time I committed to a marriage and we were committed to each other and stuff. So it's like, it's being in that awareness of a lot of that stuff, and then recognizing, even letting go of a lot of that stuff, those titles and those labels again, because it doesn't define who we are. We're trying to define who we are from a story standpoint. We're not defined by our story. Our story doesn't follow us everywhere we go after we leave these physical bodies. I don't believe.
Yeah.
Our the things that we've done, the people that we've touched, the hearts that we've healed or grown or nurtured, including our own, that's what goes with us. The love that we shared and the love that we felt for others, and just how we can just so lovingly help another person without expectation. Just being in those places, those are the things that make the difference. We're looking for these big, huge signs, these big, huge examples of how we're supposed to live our lives and everything else and what our purpose is. And it's like, there's so much more to that than that. And then I remember hearing someone say, well, what's our purpose? To love each other. It's like, what the hell am I going to do with that? How do I earn an income doing that?
Yeah.
That's not the purpose, because you're looking at it from, how do I earn an income, is looking at it from a third 3D. That's looking from a planet-based and earth-based relationship. And it's not like that. It's following your path and listening to the guidance and receiving the love and giving the love. And the next thing you know, everything's working out great, just like we talked about in the very beginning. When you're happy, your weight finds its balance. It just will. It's not something you have to practice at. You don't have to go freaking run on the treadmill for 3 hours or watch every single meal. I've done all that stuff. But I also know that just being happy reflects on the body. It reflects from inside out. So no matter what you're doing then you're like eating cake and ice cream and everyone's looking at you like, God, she doesn't put on any weight. Well, guess what? I'm loving that cake and ice cream as I'm having it. I ate a Pop-Tart last night and I loved it. I was in full bliss of that Pop-Tart. I'm
That's
just saying.
good.
Before it got genetically engineered, but because we had some old ones in there, but yeah, I was appreciating. I wasn't in that space of like, oh God, I shouldn't have this candida. I could find a million reasons from a 3D perspective why I shouldn't have it, but no, I was enjoying it. I was reveling in the flavor of it, the taste of it. I was enjoying every bite. So it's like just being happy because those things don't affect us when we don't have all the everything tied to it, like every commercial we hear, oh gosh, you got to quit eating this and you got to quit doing this. You better start taking these pills and you got to do this. All these things. And it gets kind of confusing in these systems, these bodies that we're in right now, because we've got everybody's ideals of what they think that you should do, whether it's propaganda, whether it's someone else trying to make money off of you, whether it's someone else trying to make sure that we don't live to be 150 or whatever. It doesn't matter. Like all that stuff doesn't matter. That's placing blame. And we're connecting all these things to is like pin the tail on the donkey. We don't have to accept it. We don't have, that's not, it's our beliefs. And it's like, I was thinking about even recently too. It's not, I used to always think I want to go back to the age 28, body wise, parents wise, why, I don't know. That was a number that stuck out. But on the other side of that, it's not an age, it's not a number. It's what does bliss look like to me? What is joy and health? And when I start rising higher and higher and I start asking myself these questions and I'm within myself, then I'm being shown a different version of myself that I haven't already been, not in this lifetime. So it's like we limit ourselves like, oh, okay, I want to go back to 28. Well, I don't want to go back to 28. I don't want to be that 28-year-old again. But what does my life look like from the energy standpoint that I am right now? Not from an age standpoint, but from the energy standpoint.
Yeah, and that's what you do in like hypnosis and reprogramming is you think about a time. So everybody's had a glimpse of joy or happiness in their life. Even if it was just a moment of petting a super happy dog or watching a dog be playful, we've experienced some kind of peace, little glimpse of joy. And in your visualization, you bring that up, that memory, you bring that up, you feel into it, fully embracing that moment, and then embody that, and then imagine what your life would be like from that space as you're moving forward. So similar to what you're talking about. It's like we're focused on our reality, we're focused on what's in our face, and we get into the heaviness of it and we forget about those glimmers of joy. And so just take 2-3 rounds of breathing and just bring up a joyful moment and embody that. And then that's the way the rest of my day is going to be, is this feeling, this sensation that I have right now. And open your eyes and then see what happens. It's magical. It's so cool. It makes it
Getting
fun.
into that feel spot. It's the feeling. It's getting, like you said, it's getting into that feelings. It's getting into the feel good spot because we're always creating. So we want to be creating from the feel good spot, like you're saying, which is important. If anybody has the opportunity, go listen to Alex Ferrari and Next Level Soul interview that he just did with Athena and Truth. And it does talk about some of this stuff as well. And she talks about some other stuff, but it's a very good interview. So I'm just sharing that out there. Feels like it's a good thing to share. But it's different perspectives on all this stuff. And it just, because sometimes we got to hear it from another person.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's that third party person that we hear it from, once we've already heard it from Amy and Bev, now we're going to go hear it from somebody else.
Right.
But it's a lot of the same stuff, right? But it's creating, and also thinking the day as if it already happened. Like, thank you for this beautiful day. Like, I am so thankful for this whole magnificent day that I've got to experience. And it's like being appreciative because we're creating right now. But of course, again, you don't want to be creating from the space because we're always creating. But are you creating from a space of lack? I don't feel good. I'm not happy right now. Are you creating? And if you're not happy right now, then maybe now's not time to go in there and start having that meditation. Maybe now's not the time to go in and get to that space until you can get yourself a little bit higher into a higher vibrational frequency. Find something that you know that makes you laugh. Find something that you know that like soothes your soul. If it's watching kittens and puppies, babies laughing, if it's listening to your favorite comedian, it's like it's find the ways to uplift you. It's
And
just good reminders.
if you can't, I mean, if you're in a space where you can't um bring yourself to laugh or feeling any joy, you're just really in your own heaviness of emotion, go punch a pillow and yell and scream. Go write that letter of emotional heaviness and move the energy. Go punch the air. I don't know, just do something. Or maybe you have you're taking a jiu-jitsu class and you can go throw somebody on the ground in a safe and healthy environment where you're learning those moves. But do something to move the heavy emotion, and then go watch those puppies and kittens and babies laughing and all that. But
yeah,
sometimes we're just in a space where you're just like, I'm gonna be fucking miserable, and that's the way it is, and nobody else gonna tell me how to live my life, right? Okay.
yeah.
But you're creating from that space. Even I still need to remember that. Oh, you girl, you're creating from this space. You better be mindful of what you're projecting, and you just making a shift, making a mindset shift, making an energetic shift, and doing something different.
And then feeling it, not trying to push it away or push it aside or ignore it. And no, it doesn't matter because all that does matter. It's also being in that space of feeling it and
Yeah.
embracing it and grabbing, holding your inner child and taking them for a walk and taking your ego with you. Ego on one hand, inner child on the other hand, and you guys are going out and having a celebration. Go for a walk, go for a hike, go for something that kind of burns out your energy a little bit. Go do some yard work. That's very beneficial.
Yeah.
Then you get to
Be
see
outside.
yeah, it is. It's just being outside, but it does it all that the exertion and stuff makes you it can help your chemical levels in your body too.
Right. And then I just kind of a side note, Bev and I have been talking about Next Level Soul podcast by Alex Ferrari, and he just did an interview with another interview with Suzanne Giesemann. Well,
Oh
he
yes.
interviewed Suzanne Giesemann. It was a really good interview, and she brought up the titles of his podcasts of each episode, and he comes from the movie industry, and he understands how these drama type titles attract viewers. But I'm telling you, they might sound like, ooh, that sounds negative. I've watched almost every episode that he has done in the past year, and they're incredible. And Bev and I, if they were negative type interviews, Bev and I would not be promoting them by
No,
but so the title is just to draw the people in, but
which
the
is funny.
are
Yeah.
incredible. And Suzanne's like, I understand. She said, even though I don't agree with the way you title things, and so they had this playful conversation about it, and she was, no, I understand why you do it, but doesn't mean I have to agree with it. So
Yeah, because if I hadn't been listening to him already in the
yeah.
past, and to be quite honest with you, whenever I see any how they're advertising it, where he's advertising it, I have not watched some of those videos because I'm not drawn to that. Now I'm not the collective. A lot of people are drawn to that drama and all that stuff. And for me, it's like off-putting. So for me, sometimes I won't even watch those videos, but because of the advertisements, and then it'll show up and again in my experience. I'm like, and I'll be like, okay, I'll watch it. And then I find out that I enjoy it, but I am not drawn to those things. But like you just said, it's his
Here's
videos and
here,
stuff are not like that. They're
yeah,
very good. There's
yeah.
always something to gain from all of them. They're always positive. All that is an advertisement to grab a hold of people's attention. Because like he said, there was a video that he had shared of Suzanne. I think it was her first video. And they had like a certain number of people that had watched it. And then he changed what he had advertised on it and
Same
made it a little
video.
bit more. Yeah, same video, and then and it was over like 1 million or something like that. I don't remember what it
Yeah,
was, but it was a much higher number because people are looking for that drama, for that energy, and it's like, so just knowing that it's not a bad thing
right.
at all,
And that's
and it
that's
just
one of the things. And now that I have that information, I mean, I understood that before, even after
yeah,
watching his videos for a while. And I look at the title, I'm like, ooh, it's probably gonna be a good one. Right. So I see I have come to see beyond that title. But what
yes,
I look at is the title and how long it is. Because what I've noticed is if they're right about an hour or longer, they're good. They're
yes,
good. So those are the ones I look for now.
yeah.
Oh, this one, no, hour or longer. Those are the ones I look for.
I hear you because I've done the same thing. But it's also comes down to what resonates with us, really. And that's kind of what we're drawn to anyways. And I'm listening to Athena this morning, and she's even talking about we go through times in our lives that like we might be like diving completely into like all the spirituality and everything. And there's gonna be days that we need a break from it, honestly. And it's not because oh gosh, I gotta go meditate or I need to do these things. Maybe you don't need to do any of those things right now because you got to be able to digest and process what's going on with inside the body. And it's all part of the process. It's not doing it all at one time, even though we are geared certainly to have things done all at one time. Like,
Yeah.
let's get it done. Now, on to the next thing. Because if we
Right.
got everything done all at one time, it's like, then what?
We won't be here, right?
This, this, this makes it more fun. But I feel like we're getting to those points where we have an understanding of where the then what is.
Yeah.
So because the then what is to love even more, but because now we feel it on such a different level that it's not only palpable for us, but then others that are around us when we're having these experiences can feel it as well.
Yeah. And when we talk about loving other people, you are the main person to love because whatever you do for yourself, it's easy to do for others. So when you're in that space of loving yourself, so much easier to express love towards others. So
And something else that made sense too, like we've talked about before, like going out and um, helping others, helping and do other things. And one of the things that I heard Athena say recently from one of the videos was she was talking about we automatically get out of the way. Like if I'm sitting here and I'm like, I really wish Amy the very best. I want her to have the best health, the best abundance. And when we're feeling those ways about someone else, we completely step out of all of our blocks and we start receiving the same thing. So I'm not telling you to go out and do that for everybody, but to really be in that feeling place where you're really feeling that when someone wins a lottery, like I'm actually thankful that they won the lottery. I really am. And to be in that space and I hope that they find their joy instead of having that negativity that might be attached to it of jealousy, of wanting, lack, all these other emotions that go along with it. Because it's not because it's going to bring the lottery to me, but it's like it gets me out of the way and maybe my blocks regarding money or my blocks regarding a relationship or my blocks regarding anything when we're well wishing and we're really feeling that for another person because we're taking the spotlight off of us. We totally are. We don't have any of the blocks anymore because we're looking and we're giving all this love and this emotion, this feelings and thoughts to this other person. It's totally uplifting us because it's like all of our shackles that we put on ourselves are not even there. They don't exist. And now we're completely open to receiving. And that's why when we talk about doing for others really does make a big difference. But before I was in a space, if someone said to do that, it's like, no, I don't have anything else to give others. And that's okay because I had to go through the process to understand what that really means. It's not giving from an empty checking account, an empty cup, an empty home, or whatever it is. It's not from the empty. It's not from the lack. It's from a different space of that. It's from a really wanting others to do well and to be joyful and happy and not holding yourself in the darkness or holding anyone else in the darkness. That's really uplifting. And it's not because I'm saying to go out and do that because of this, but there's a benefit. You get all the benefits from that just by being in that space. So instead of going out there and spending all the money you can on one person, it's like just being in that joy for that person because you're giving them so much more than this 3D perspective of money. There's so much more to abundance than just money.
so cool. That's the way I heard it. I mean, taking all of that and putting it in a nutshell is bless that which you want. So if somebody else won the lottery, be excited for them, send them love, that they have all the joy in their life, whatever it is, bless that which you want. So
And be curious and excited. Like if you won the lottery, be curious and excited. Like, I wonder what she's going to do next. I wonder what's going to happen. I wonder what they're going to create. Be excited.
yeah,
This is such an opportunity. And when we're like that, it actually helps us to kind of grow and evolve and see things from a different perspective. And we enjoy life so much better, so much more. It's more peaceful and joyful,
yeah, so good.
fulfilling. Yes.
It's amazing how time goes by. It's already been an hour. Can you believe it?
No,
It's like, no way.
it's crazy.
I just, I appreciate the conversation. To me, is amazing. I love it. And we could go on and on and on for sure. But so thank you for your time and energy of being here. And I just want to throw this out there to the audience, because I sent a message to Bev of a screenshot of something, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is in New Zealand and Poland. And the numbers, Bev thought I was talking about temperature. And I was like, I did not clarify what it was. Our podcast has been watched in New Zealand and Poland. And so I wanted to share that with the audience to let them know that it just takes one person to make a difference. And that's whether you share a book, share information that you learned from a teacher, sharing somebody's podcast, whether it's ours. We talk about Next Level Soul. We talk about Suzanne Giesman. We've talked about several others. Like, it takes one person to help spread the word. And there's an energy investment, but there's no financial investment. So there are plenty of things to do out there that's for free, that you can help people grow and expand in their businesses and in their helping and be that light for others. No, same as on social media. I'm gonna particularly say Facebook, that just to like a small business's post, or to share it, or to invite your friends to like their page, there is no financial investment for you in that, but a little bit of energy, but only doing those things that resonate with you and feels good to you and know that's going to help other people. So with that, thank you for whoever and however these videos are getting out into other countries. To me, that's exciting and a blessing. It's an honor to be heard by other people of other countries, and knowing that it's spreading. So yay.
Awesome. Thank you for doing all the advertising and putting it out there. All the work you do on the other part of the whole spectrum that people don't see.
Yeah, that's it too. People don't see the behind the scenes of everything it takes to do these things, and they're just like, oh, you just record a video. Well, yeah, but there's a lot more to it. So anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for your time and energy, for being with us, for watching, for sharing. Share your comments, questions. We love to come back to those, read them, reply to them, and just be connected to us and through the videos, through our social media, getting on our email list, however you want to get connected. So with that, thank you so much. Create an amazing day, amazing week, and we'll see you when we see you.
That's right.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.